Welcome to Wednesday's edition of TimesCast. A rapid end to a Russian spy case. The Justice Department sues Arizona over its immigration law.
One of the things that we in the news media do badly.
And D Kristof responds to YouTube viewers.
Well, the United States government appears to be in talks today with the Russian government about a possible resolution of the Russian spy case that erupted in recent weeks. There's discussions apparently between the Justice Department and lawyers for some of these suspects about quick resolutions to their cases, possibly guilty pleas, and then perhaps a trade back to Russia in exchange for at least one and possibly more people being held in prison there. One name that's come out today is Igor Suchagin, an arms control researcher who's been locked up in Russia since 1999 on allegations that he spied for the CIA. He's always denied that, but his mother tells the Times today that he's been transferred from his penal colony to Moscow, forced to sign a confession in apparent preparation for being pardoned and sent to Vienna, where he'll be free after 11 years behind bars. All of this seems to be a reflection of old Cold War style trading, but in the service of a new era of relationships between the United States and Russia. A determination, it seems, by the Obama administration and by the Kremlin under President Dmitry Medvedev not to let this spy scandal from recent weeks get in the way of the rapprochement, the reset of the relationship that they've been pursuing over the last year and a half.
Julia Preston explains why the Justice Department is suing Arizona.
Julia, yesterday the federal government filed suit against Arizona over their new immigration law. Why?
Well, the federal government is asserting that the regulation and control of immigration is a federal responsibility and is saying that Arizona has violated the Constitution by attempting to control immigration at the state level.
Does this stop the Arizona law from taking effect?
Well, the law was supposed to go into effect on July 29th, and part of the federal suit is to try and stop that from happening. And then there would be a court procedure after that. But of course, it's unclear whether they will get what they call a preliminary injunction.
So it may or may not take effect based on what a court says.
Yes.
And why Arizona? Other border states, New Mexico, Texas, California, are not promulgating their own kind of immigration law like Arizona. Why is Arizona different in that regard?
Well, I think Arizona has become particularly raw because you've had a large influx of immigrants, many of them illegal immigrants from Mexico and Central America in the last 10 years or so, at the same time that you've had many Americans, maybe of a kind of conservative disposition, also moving into the state.
And many so retirees and such.
Yes, it's a kind of a clash of aspirations for what the state should be.
Op-ed columnist D Kristof responds to reader questions on the Times YouTube site.
My question is about Omar al-Bashir. He is a wanted man by the International Criminal Court for helping to perpetrate murder, rape, torture, you name it, on his own people in Darfur. Yet he was just recently re-inaugurated as president of Sudan, and in attendance were even 2 UN peacekeeping mission heads. Does an arrest warrant from the ICC mean nothing? Why does this guy still continue to get to do everything he wants to do? And what can the international community do about it?
In the coming months, Bashir and the rest of the Sudanese leadership are going to make a judgment about whether to start a new war against South Sudan. I'm afraid that the lesson that they will have learned from the impunity that they've enjoyed is to go ahead. And I fear that the result is going to be that the North will try to sow instability in southern Sudan to derail the referendum that will be holding on independence, and then a grab for southern Sudan's oil. And the result may well be a catastrophic new war in Sudan. One of the things that we in the news media do badly is alert people ahead of time, is function as an early warning system to disasters that are about to happen. And let me just say that I think that Sudan and the North-South War may well be a huge disaster that we're rolling inexorably toward.
Nicholas Kristof will be answering more reader questions this week on his blog at nytimes.com/ontheground. Join us again tomorrow for another edition of TimesCast.